The enigmatic end of rulers, how history shaped the fates of dictators. Throughout human history, there have been figures whose lust for power knew no bounds. Dictators who built empires founded on fear naively believed their dominion would last forever. Yet, as is well known, death levels all, and their passing was often shrouded in darkness and mystery, seemingly mirroring the very nature of their rule. In this article, we will attempt to shed light on the circumstances surrounding the deaths of figures such as Hitler, Stalin, Mao Zedong, and Gaddafi. The official accounts of their demise, recorded in history books, often conceal omissions, intricate conspiracies, and deeply buried secrets that continue to intrigue historians and researchers to this day. The death of a dictator is never a simple or straightforward event. Under an authoritarian regime where information is tightly controlled, the truth is meticulously hidden and propaganda shapes public opinion. News of a tyrannical ruler's death almost always leaves room for doubt and speculation. Was it a natural death caused by illness, the result of a cunning conspiracy within their inner circle, or a rightful blow from history? Such conclusions invariably attract attention, like a magnet. Uncertainty becomes fertile ground for a wide array of theories, from the plausible to the utterly fantastical. The greater the power a dictator wielded, the more convoluted and enigmatic their departure from life typically becomes. We will now turn to the most famous examples where the deaths of tyrants became genuine puzzles, raising questions that still lack definitive answers. Adolf Hitler, a life's end in the bunker, or a daring escape abroad. On 30 April 1945, as Soviet forces inexorably tightened their grip around Berlin, Adolf Hitler was sheltering deep within his bunker. According to the official account, it was here, in the final hours of their lives, that the Führer and Eva Braun decided to take their own lives, after which their bodies were set alight on Hitler's personal instruction. However, this version immediately sparked a wave of doubt and skepticism. Soviet soldiers, who were the first to storm the bunker, remained silent for many years, and the remains later presented as belonging to Hitler were found to be those of a woman considerably younger than the Führer. The resulting information vacuum was instantly filled with numerous theories and conjectures. Some claimed that Hitler had managed to escape to Argentina, where he lived under an assumed name, while others believed he was hiding in South America, leading a quiet and inconspicuous life. There were also those who thought he lived in secrecy for much longer than commonly believed. Thus, Hitler's fate remains a mystery where official history and speculation intertwine in an ongoing conflict. Benito Mussolini, the disgraceful end of a dictator, publicly displayed. In April 1945, as Allied forces advanced steadily through Italy, Benito Mussolini made a desperate attempt to flee the country. However, his plans were thwarted. The Duce was captured along with his companion while trying to make his way north, but he never reached his final destination. The official version states that Mussolini's life was ended by Italian partisans. Afterwards, his body was transported to Milan, where it was put on public display, hung before a jubilant crowd. Nevertheless, many ambiguities remain in this story. Some historians hypothesize that Mussolini possessed compromising documents concerning secret agreements with Churchill, which were carefully concealed after his death. Others believe he may have fallen victim to betrayal by his inner circle, who sought to secure their own salvation at any cost. Regardless, Mussolini's demise, beyond the official interpretation, serves as a striking example of how the collapse of a regime can be accompanied by betrayal, conspiracies of silence, and mysteries that may never be unraveled. Joseph Stalin, the Kremlin enigma. In March 1953, Joseph Stalin was found lifeless in his Kremlin residence. According to the official account, the cause of death was a stroke, attributed to years of intense work and political pressure. However, well-founded doubts about the veracity of this version arose almost immediately. It is known that for several hours, Stalin's personal guards and assistants hesitated to enter his chambers, fearing his wrath if they disturbed him. By the time they finally decided to go in, it was already too late to provide effective medical assistance. A veil of secrecy over leaders' demise from Stalin to Franco. The death of a political leader is always shrouded in mystery and speculation, especially in authoritarian regimes where control over information is a key instrument of power. The passing of Joseph Stalin and Francisco Franco are prime examples of how opacity and manipulation can shape public perception and influence the course of history. Joseph Stalin, death under a cloak of secrecy. In March 1953, the Soviet people were stunned by the news of Joseph Stalin's death. While the official version cited illness as the cause, alternative theories quickly emerged, as is often the case in closed political systems. Rumors circulated about possible poisoning, instigated by political opponents hungry for power. A fierce struggle for succession unfolded behind the Kremlin walls, and some historians do not rule out that the dictator's death may have been hastened. The absence of transparent medical information and strict censorship only fueled speculation and conjecture, leaving open questions that may never receive definitive answers. Stalin's death not only marked the end of an era in Soviet history, but also vividly demonstrated how silence and the concealment of truth can distort historical perspective under a totalitarian regime. Francisco Franco, agony under control. In November 1975, Spain held its breath awaiting the death of General Francisco Franco, who had ruled the country with an iron fist for decades. While official sources reported a steady deterioration in his health, a real drama unfolded behind the scenes. Franco's regime, known for its authoritarianism and tight control over information, sought to maintain the image of an unwavering leader until the very last moment. Medical bulletins broadcast on state channels were strictly censored. Any information that could undermine the dictator's authority or cause public panic was ruthlessly suppressed. This led to serious doubts about the objectivity of the data provided, questioning whether medical reports truly reflected Franco's condition or served as a propaganda tool to uphold the myth of an all-powerful ruler. Some historians believe his treatment was deliberately prolonged to buy time and ensure a smooth political transition after his death. Franco's demise thus became a vivid example of how an authoritarian regime attempts to control not only the lives of its citizens, but also the narrative of its own end, with the desire to manipulate information and create a specific historical image, often eclipsing the truth and leaving many questions unanswered. Mao Zedong, a leader behind a veil of secrets. In September 1976, the People's Republic of China stood on the brink of change. After years of battling various ailments, Mao Zedong, the undisputed leader and icon of the Chinese Revolution, passed away. The official version stated that the cause of death was a heart attack, which occurred while he was resting at Zhongnanhai, the residence of the highest echelons of power in Beijing. However, as is frequently the case in closed political systems, Mao Zedong's death gave rise to numerous rumors and conjectures. Behind the scenes of the Communist Party, a fierce power struggle was raging, and many questioned whether the timing of the leader's demise was predetermined by political intrigues. There were even hints that certain factions might have hastened Mao's premature end, although no evidence for this has ever been presented. The secrecy inherent in the Chinese regime and its tight control over information meant that the populace received only carefully selected and filtered details. As a result, Mao Zedong's image transformed into a complex and contradictory myth, where the real man and the political narrative became inextricably intertwined. The veil of mystery surrounding his death only intensified this effect, leaving many questions unanswered and giving rise to new theories and speculations. Muammar Gaddafi, a despot in the labyrinth of power. In October 2011, after more than 40 years of autocratic rule, Muammar Gaddafi was captured in Libya amidst a civil war. According to the official account, he was apprehended attempting to flee the city of Sirte, where his tumultuous life came to an end. However, the chronicle of those tragic events is rife with inconsistencies and gaps. Footage presented to the global public captured chaotic scenes, outbreaks of violence, and the involvement of numerous parties, but it never coalesced into a coherent and convincing picture of what transpired. Almost immediately, alternative interpretations emerged, from covert operations by foreign special services to the disappearance of important documents and vast personal fortunes that were never recovered. Gaddafi's demise symbolized how the downfall of an all-powerful dictator can transform into a convoluted drama where truth and fiction intertwine, leaving more questions than answers. Kim Jong-il, a leader under a veil of secrecy. In December 2011, North Korea officially announced the death of its leader, Kim Jong-il, reportedly occurring during a working train journey. The cause of death was stated as a heart attack, but the regime's impenetrability only gave rise to further doubts and conjectures. The news of Kim Jong-il's passing was delayed, sparking a wave of speculation about the actual timing of the event, whether it happened on the declared date or several days earlier. Amidst the strictest state control over information and the virtual absence of eyewitnesses, the circumstances of the North Korean leader's death became shrouded in numerous theories. The lack of transparency fueled conspiratorial versions. Some claimed that Kim Jong-il's demise occurred under different circumstances, and that the authorities deliberately delayed the announcement to ensure a smooth transfer of power to his son, Kim Jong-un. The end of Kim Jong-il's life serves as a stark example of how, under a totalitarian regime, even the final chapter of a dictator's biography can be artfully constructed to serve political interests rather than to establish the truth. Saddam Hussein, Trial and the Shadow of Doubt. In 2003, following the invasion of Iraq, Saddam Hussein was captured and brought to trial on charges of crimes against humanity. In 2006, an Iraqi court sentenced him to death, a verdict that was carried out by hanging. Footage of Saddam Hussein's execution, captured on video and leaked online, instantly circulated worldwide, sparking a storm of debate and disagreement. Some claim the video depicted a body double of Hussein, not the man himself. Others asserted that the judicial process was politically motivated and that the true circumstances of the case were never fully revealed. History offers numerous examples where the overthrow of despotic regimes has resulted in chaos and confusion, leaving behind a trail of unsolved mysteries. Saddam Hussein's fate vividly illustrates how the removal of a dictator can lead to a series of unanswered questions, tormenting millions who doubt the official version of events. Reflecting on the tragic ends of dictators, one concludes that unlimited power by no means guarantees a dignified, let alone clear, demise. Among the many enigmatic deaths, 3 stand out as particularly shrouded in the darkness of the unknown. Third place in this somber ranking goes to Joseph Stalin, whose death still raises suspicions of a possible conspiracy within the Kremlin walls. In second place is Adolf Hitler, whose official version of demise has failed to convince many, giving rise to countless theories about his miraculous escape and flight. Finally, first place rightly belongs to Muammar Gaddafi, whose tragic death, captured on video, confuses rather than clarifies the circumstances of what transpired, leaving behind untold treasures, documents that vanished without a trace, and a multitude of questions that remain unanswered. This somber list reminds us that even the most formidable leaders ultimately prove as vulnerable as ordinary mortals, and their stories are often replete with dark secrets and mysteries. Dictators who held the world in an iron grip across various eras proved incapable of controlling their own destinies. Each left behind a veil of mystery that continues to generate debate, doubt, and the most incredible theories to this very day.